What's going on? It's Craig Ben, AK Cash Kick here, back for another NBA Prize Picks video. What a crazy trade deadline yesterday. I can't remember the last time we've had so many trades and just frenzy yesterday. What's going on? So yeah, I kind of threw some things around yesterday on some of the picks. Like I said, Dinwiddie got traded, so that kind of adjusted things a little bit. Surprised Kuzma didn't get his over. Luka decided to put up 51 points, so he screwed up his assist and Brunson's points. So that was nice of him to see. He wanted to shoot the ball 30 times. But again, Adams hit over his assist. That thing just seems to be free money lately, so hopefully that stays low. But again, it's just one of those nights. It's just crazy. Hopefully now that the trade deadline is over, we can kind of get back into a little bit of normal basketball up until teams start tanking here when we get to the crazy late March, early April basketball, where it seems to when all the scrubs start playing. But again, I think we can attack that a little bit. But with that, let's just check the picks we got today. It's a pretty short board on this early Prize Picks video. But again, if you like these videos, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and let's go. All right, as you can see, we have the Prize Picks video up here. We have the desktop version up. If you want an account, head on over to prizepicks.com, use promo code DFSArmy, and get that 100% instant deposit match up to $100. I did not like a lot of the plays here, honestly, when I looked through them. None of the plays I liked are going to be official plays. I'm going to talk about 5 that I was kind of on the fence with. But none of these are going to be official plays for me. Just 100% transparent. Like I can poke holes in all of them, and there's just not a lot on the board. We only have basically 2 games up here, and it's a 7 game slate today. So hopefully in the video I do later, we'll have a little bit more information, but I'll still talk about some of the research I found, and you can kind of make your own decisions on it. So the first one here is Jaka Purdle. He went under that against Cleveland. Again, that was a tough matchup. This matchup is much easier with 12.5 points. Again, he's went over this mark 8 out of his last 10 games. Atlanta is ranked 23rd in points allowed. He's put up 15 against them in the one contest he did play back on November 24th, where he saw 30 minutes. So the matchup is there for him. Like I said, he's hit this 8 out of his last 10 games. It's a good matchup for him. The one hole that I'm going to poke into this is the emergence of Zach Collins, right? Maybe you like, who? Yeah, he's only played 2 games. You know, he used to play for the Trailblazers. Now his last 2 games, he put 13 minutes up, put up 26 fantasy points, and he played 18 minutes and put up 19 fantasy points. So my worry is maybe his minutes start to creep up even more and eat into some of Jaka Purdle's minutes. 12.5 points is still low, and I still think Purdle's going to play 30 minutes. But I'm not sure if we're going to see, the minutes like we saw in some of these games where he's putting up, 34, 35 minutes or 33 minutes. It might be closer down to 30, 31. So that was the one hole I poked into this. But again, if you look at all the stats and see how well he's done, and again, looking at the points allowed from, Atlanta's defense, ranked 23rd, it points towards that. But that was the one thing I want to mention with this. If you take the over, I just curious what Pop will do with Zach Collins' minutes, and will they just continue to creep up, because Collins is a way better offensive player than Jaka Purdle. Purdle plays hard, but his offensive game is horrendous compared to Zach Collins, and that's the one thing that I worry about. Jaka Purdle does a lot of his stuff around the rim, and he's got that push shot, but Zach Collins is way more polished offensively. So that's the one thing I worry about that a little bit. The second one we're going to talk about here is we're going to go to assists, and we're going to talk about Marcus Smart. Now, again, Boston ended up trading Schroeder, so he's no longer on the team. Richardson's gone as well. So basically, Marcus Smart should run the point here a ton and play a ton of minutes. And Peyton Pritchard's probably going to back him up. So those are the 2 that's going to handle it. They still got Aaron Naismith as well. But Smart should run the offense a lot in this first unit. He's went over this mark 6 out of his last 10 games. It's a pretty close spread, 5-point spread, 217.5 over under. middle of the pack. Denver's defense with assists allowed at 16. So it's one of those numbers where he should get over this, but it always worries me a little bit. But looking at guys that they got rid of and seeing how much he should have the ball in his hands, I would lean the over here. But it does make me worry a little bit at this number. But I wanted to talk about it because it kind of stood out a little bit because I have him right around 6.5 assists, and there's a little bit of room there for him. So with moving those two guys out, I think we can look at him. The other one we're going to talk about here is points, rebounds, and assists, and it's actually Keldon Johnson. He's actually went over this mark in 6 out of his last 7 games going up against Atlanta. Again, this is Atlanta's favored by 8 now, so the Spurs can keep this close. It's got a 232.5 over under. He is all over the place. They rank Atlanta's defense, like I said, is 23rd in points allowed, 26th in assists allowed. They are 9th in rebounds allowed, but 23.5 with him going over this in 6 of his last 7 games. Does play pretty heavy minutes, averaging 33 minutes over his last 5. And then, he did play Atlanta one time and put up 35 minutes here. So again, with them kind of, always the worry with the Spurs outside of Dejante Murray is just when it comes down to minutes with him. So I do think this is a good play, and I think you can take the over here, but it's not a smash play, and none of these is something that I'm like, if you want to use them as filler pieces, I think if you're looking for, if you found a spot you really like, it's just none of these this morning that I'm like just absolutely in love with, and I hope that in this afternoon we can find some better picks, but these are the ones that are kind of coming up, and I'm not super in love with them. So yeah, I would lean the over on this one as well. The other two we're going to talk about is over assists, and it's just basically kind of a run back on each other. It's Dejante Murray and Trae Young assists. Now these numbers have been a little bit lower in the past where they haven't been double digits, and that's why they make me nervous a little bit here. If we just look at Dejante Murray first and see what he's done. I mean, he's just done nothing but put up assists here, right? And again, Atlanta's defense is ranked 26 in assists allowed. He's went over this mark in 5 out of his last 10 games. I wish it was at 10. If it was at 10, I would take it. 10.5 man, it worries me. And the games, because if it was at 10, then he went at or above this in 7 of his last 10 games. Because he had 10 assists back on January 21st against Brooklyn, and then January 25th he went 10 assists against Houston. But that number is just probably what it should be. So there's not a whole lot of things to worry. Like, it's tough. It's a tough number. He did put up 11 assists against Atlanta back when they did play on November 24th. But again, that number is tough because again, we've been getting this at 9.5. And just playing it every time, and he's been hitting it that or above. But 10.5 is a little tough. And then Trae Young here. I think if I was going to pick one, I'd probably pick Trae Young, but he's not been as consistent as Dejante Murray has. However, he's hit this in 4 of his last 5 games. The Spurs ranked 12th in assist allowed. Now the Spurs just did get rid of White, so White is no longer on that team. So Vessel's probably going to have to step up here into that starting lineup. So Vessel's going to probably start where White was starting, and the numbers. I would rather take a chance on Trae Young than Dejante Murray, but my worry is maybe Trae Young decides to just flamethrow it and just put up a ton of points, and then his assist numbers won't be there. But again, lately he's been getting his teammates involved. Like I said, hitting that 4 over the last 5. He did, again, when they played the Spurs back in November, he did have 11 assists as well. He's averaging 10.4 in his last 5 games. It's around 10.5 in a lot of the books. So I feel more comfortable taking a shot on him than I do Dejante Murray. But that's why I don't really love any of the plays that we have going on here, because these numbers are all pretty tight, right? Like I said, that smart one, when I look at, the projection model, it kind of says this is a great play with the guys that they have shipped out. So that's why I mentioned him up there first. But there's still holes you could put in all that, because Brown and Tatum could take over a game at any time. When we look at points, like I said, I like this Jaka Purdle. We've been cashing all the time, but with Zach Collins coming back those 2 games, what is Pop going to do with his minutes? If you're going to say he's going to stay at the 33 mark or whatever, then I like him, and I still might play him in some power plays. But there is some cause to worry about that with Zach Collins coming in that offensive game. So that's one thing to worry about here. Capella hasn't been getting big minutes, so you can't trust him. Boston and Denver is just a tough thing to swallow here. Maybe you want to take a shot on Jokic's over 24.5 points because they'll need him. They need him to do everything to keep anything close. So I'd lean the over there. But overall, it's just pretty rough with the plays we have. Like I said, there's not a ton on the board. And just going through all these, I don't want to guess which Boston guy is going to rebound today. The minutes that Capella's going to see always worries me there. So it's not like something that I love with Capella at 10 rebounds. So, it's just not a very good card. But, hey, wanted to put something out there and trying to give you my research that I did this morning. I'm drinking my coffee. And hopefully we'll have a better card once we get some more plays up this afternoon, and we'll go from there. But again, 7-game slate, TGIF. The trade deadline is finally over. We can see how some of these trades panned out. And if you like these videos, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and I got a lot coming today, so stay tuned. Deuces.